Welcome to Body Hack and Build a Better You, the podcast where we unlock the secret to living a longer, healthier life and create a bloom zone in our life and within our family. I'm your host, Michaela, and I'm here to provide you with the tools and knowledge to empower you to build a better you, one essential building block at a time. Get excited, body hacking community. In today's episode, you will meet Bill. He's an average American and is a loved husband and a grandfather who has lived a normal life and provided for his family. When he himself started having high blood pressure in his late 40s and the knowledge of his dad needing triple bypass around that age, he started becoming aware of his mortality. Over the years, he was trying to implement some healthier habits, but the results never showed as his high blood pressure kept on creeping up and his need for medication increased until he was on the maximum dosage of 2 different kinds of medications. We met at the gym, and the talk today is about his journey from being an unhealthy 68-year-old who had a great need for medication to become the happy 70-year-old he is today, proving anything is possible. He has a doctor now that keeps on lowering the dosage of the medication because his body is responding so positively to the nutritional changes he has done. Bill will also share more exciting side effects of his healthier lifestyle, like improved skin, increased energy levels, and even his hair color that has gone from white to darker shades. After this episode, you might ask yourself, is he reversing his aging process? I wanted to record this episode to inspire you who might feel you have been using medications forever already, or you who feel too old, that it's never too late to start your body hacking journey. If this episode inspired you, please consider to leave a review. It really helps the podcast to grow. Thanks for tuning in. I want to remind you that this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Read the disclaimer in the show notes, and I remind you to always consult your healthcare provider if you plan to make any dietary changes. Let's dive in. So I'm sitting here with one of my clients, Bill. And Bill, you have an interesting story because what's so fascinating in your case is that you are in a very mature age. We can say that. And you have been on high blood pressure medication for over 20 years when you met me. And we saw drastic results in your health pretty quick. And I want Bill's testimony be giving people out there hope that it's never too late to start the journey of achieving optimal health. We can all achieve better health from where we are at right now, regardless of our age, because a lot of people are blaming our symptoms, our aches, our pains on aging, on our DNA. But you're a typical example of it doesn't have to be because of the aging factor. It can actually be other issues that have been the root cause. And when we're changing so that we're having better circumstances for self-healing, we can actually reduce those symptoms so much that even our doctors are telling us, okay, we can reduce the medication, your health starts looking better, and I'm impressed of what you're doing. So Bill, today we're going to talk about high blood pressure. We're going to talk about skin. We're going to talk about a little bit maybe on cholesterol, hair color. We will talk about overall well-being, health, and sleep maybe. And also how you have been able to help other people. This episode might be a little bit too long, so we might divide it up to 2 episodes. But Bill, I want to hear, where did you grow up? And tell us a little bit about your family.
So I was born in Tucson, Arizona, and I actually think my health journey started when I was probably 17, 18 years old. My father, who was 45 at the time, needed a triple bypass. And I thought, that is way too young to be needing a triple bypass. So I started exercising and I started what I thought was eating right. And I continued to do that for the next 20 years. And then all of a sudden, my cholesterol was high, my blood pressure was high, and I even asked the doctor, why is I'm relaxed. Why do I have high blood pressure? He couldn't tell me why, but now I was on a medication for cholesterol, a medication for high blood pressure. And a few years later, I needed a second medication for high blood pressure. And I'm thinking, I think I'm doing everything right. I'm exercising, I'm eating right, I'm taking vitamins. I didn't know what else to do. And then I met Michaela, and she said she may be able to help me. And I'm like, okay, we'll see, because I'm a typical consumer, skeptical of everything. But after working with her for 3 months, my wife noticed my skin. She goes, "What are you using on your skin? It is so improved." And I'm sitting there thinking and thinking, and I'm like, well, I don't put anything on my skin. But I looked at my hands and I'm like, well, yeah, they're not dry and flaky. The skin is so much better. So what I learned was if you get in balance with your omega-3 and your omega-6, your body will transform to what you should really be at that age or even less. And so I called Michaela and I said, what will this omega-3 do for me? And I didn't tell her what I was seeing. And she told me, well, because your skin changes out so fast, it will improve dramatically in a quick order. And I'm like, okay, she does know what she's talking about. So then maybe a month later, and now I'm on 2 blood pressure medicines, and I was in my office and I stood up and I almost passed out because I got really dizzy and lightheaded. So I had my wife take my blood pressure, and it was 110/60, which is really low for me.
What is your high blood pressure normally at before you started this protocol?
Well, even on both medications, it was still running 145/90, which the doctor always says that's borderline. That's borderline. We don't want you getting any higher. And he said, ideally, I want you at 130/80. So he put me on that second medication, and I called him up and I said, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm using. And I said, my blood pressure got too low. And he said, well, drop the one medication. So I did that and continued on the protocol. And
It could also be helpful for our listeners to know what medications you were using.
so I was on lisinopril, and it was maxed out at 40 milligrams. And then he put me on hydralazine, 50 milligrams, 4 times a day, sometimes 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day. And I hated the way I felt. I was just kind of like a snail, a little bit sluggish. But once I got off the hydralazine, I was still doing the health protocol, and my blood pressure continued to come down. So I could even reduce that medication. So it really helped me there. Some of the other my Swedish nutritionist has taught me, but one of the other things I really liked was the blood pressure came down, the skin was good. And then during COVID, I was doing my own haircuts, not very good, but I was doing them. And I noticed while I was cutting my hair, I looked in the sink and there was color that hadn't been there before. So I called her up again. I said, Michaela, what will this do for my hair? And she said, well, you could get color back in your hair.
I remember this, and I remember seeing you at the gym, the like shortly after we had had this conversation, and I could truly see that your color had started coming back because when I first met Bill, his hair color was all gray. But and then suddenly we started seeing some red tones coming in. And if you are watching this on YouTube today, you can see how dark his hair is today. And he was all white silver when I first met him. And it's fascinating because the longer I have got to know you and the longer you have been on the protocol, the darker your hair have turned and the more color is coming in. And it's very fascinating to see that that is one of your side effects of getting into balance, what we're calling omega balance, of correcting the gut health, of optimizing your nutritional intake so that we get all the essential vitamins, minerals, proteins, fatty acids into your system. And this is one way your body is responding to that. And this is not something that every single person will experience, but this is how your body is experiencing it. And it's really fascinating to see. And I've seen your skin too. When we first met, your hands were kind of flaky. They were. And it's fascinating to see now how pretty your skin is. And it's actually my daughter. She's having a very, very lovable bond with Bill. He's our adopted grandpa in our family. And she's just commenting a lot of the times that she just loves Bill's skin. So, okay, Bill. So now we had been, I mean, you had been a client of mine for about a year by now. The doctors have reduced your high blood pressure medication. So you're using very little of one. And tell us a little bit of what you have learned, because something that the doctors put you very early on. I don't know what age, how old were you when they put you on statins?
I was in my mid 40s, maybe 45.
Okay. So I talk a lot about statins in my podcast. That is a drug I do not agree with or used the way it should be used. And it's very weak data and it's a lot of side effects that comes with it. And I'm talking about this a lot that cholesterol have never really been the issue. It's not because of high cholesterol we are getting heart problems. It is due to the inflammation and the sugar causing damage, which cholesterol then have to repair. So I know that I have been able to inspire you to read some books. What kind of books have you been reading lately that you would love the listeners to this podcast to really educate themselves on if they are currently on statins? Because a lot of the side effects of statins, and you're still struggling with some side effects of the medication you have been on, and we're still trying to figure some things out, like your neuropathy in your feet, which I believe is a direct side effect of the drugs that you have been on. But what book, if someone just have been to the doctor and they have been told they need statins, what book would you recommend them to read?
There's probably four that I would recommend, at least four that I would recommend. One is Eat the Yolk. The other one is Grain Brain, and I don't remember the author of either one of those. And then the book on keto, and I have learned, and Michaela's the one that has set me up on the keto diet also. And if you read the keto diet, and I'm trying to remember his name, but that has really opened my eyes up to cholesterol, high blood pressure, getting in balance. He talks a lot about getting in balance with your omega 3, your omega 6. Another book that I would recommend is by Dr. Paul Clayton, and he talks about statins. And nobody, all four of those books, nobody talks good about statins. They talk about all the side effects, and your body has got to have cholesterol. Your brain needs cholesterol. They've made cholesterol the enemy, and it's not really an enemy. So I'm doing my best. I'm working at it. I'm doing the keto that Michaela got me on, and I really think it's going to help, and I will be able to get completely off the statin. When I go in and see my doctor next time, I'm really hoping he sees a difference in my blood tests.
So I just want to say something about keto diet out there to our listeners is that the keto diet may not be right for everyone, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're in fertility age. It needs to be optimized for your body. So just hardcore keto may not be the right thing for you. But right now, we are doing it with Bill in order to actually just cut all sugars out to see how his neuropathy is responding to that. Um, but overall, a diet where we're cutting out processed foods is good always. But some people might need more fruits into their diet. So I'm just setting that up as a reference. I'm not telling everyone out there to go on the keto diet, but in some cases, it can be the right movement, especially for a short period of time. Lovely. So, Bill, I want to hear now, like, first of all, would you mind telling people how old you are today?
I'm 70.
And 70 years of age. And how are you feeling? So, from a scale from 1 to 10, how are you sleeping, for example?
I'm sleeping great now. I feel great. I go to the gym 6 days a week and work out. Um, I don't want to brag, but I've had several people ask me my age, and each time I tell them, they make me get out my driver's license and prove it.
I love it. And if you see Bill at the gym, he is the person walking with some sponge. Like he have energy in his walks. He's always the center of attention. You are. And it's lovely to see someone that is have decided that my life is worth living. It's fun living, and I want to continue to live as good as possible for as long as possible and not giving up. It can be so easy for us to buy into what the doctors are saying that, oh, it's age related, or your pain is age related, your high blood pressure is age related, your cholesterol levels need medication, and so on. And for you to actually say, I'm not accepting this, I'm open to learn more, I'm open to find better solutions for myself, that is huge because a lot of people are not even open for that. And how are you feeling overall? Are you worried about your health today? Or are you feeling comfortable? Are you excited? Or what are your emotions regarding your health today?
Well, all of those. I'm very comfortable with where I'm at. I feel great. I'm not worried about being 70. I mean, I think since I've met you and you've helped me with nutrition and the whole health protocol, I feel great.
And I have one memory of Bill. I went to visit him. Bill is such a good example of someone that have turned his whole health around. When I first met him, he loved to eat his salsa and chips every single day. And that may not have been the best for him, but he completely changed his health around. He is curious, he's asking questions, he's trying to find better solutions, what he can switch out some habits to. And I came to see, and he have started a garden in his backyard, and it is beautiful. Bill, why were you interested, and why did you get to that moment where you were just like, let's start a garden? What triggered that?
Well, I wanted to eat organic. I mean, the stuff at the grocery store is so processed and so full of bug spray and chemicals and fertilizer. I wanted to eat as clean as I could because of Michaela. And at one point, I told her, I said, Michaela, I wish I had never met you. And she looked at me really shocked and said, why? And I said, ignorance is bliss. If I hadn't met you, I'd still be eating those cheeseburgers and French fries covered in ketchup. But my health has improved so much since I've met her. So I'm so thankful for her.
Thank you, Bill. And another aspect of it too, to grow things at home, is there have been a lot of science done with spinach, for example. How much vitamin C is actually in the spinach when we're eating it from when they're harvesting it. And there's actually 0% of vitamin C left in the spinach when it reaches our table because the food is transported so far. As soon as you cut the food away from the plant, it's actually all the vitamins, minerals are starting to downgrade in the plant. So a lot of the nutrients we think that we're eating when we're buying the food in the grocery store, it's not actually there. So people are usually struggling with malnutrition in all different kinds of, I mean, from all different angles. It's malnutrition, it's minerals that we're lacking, and especially fatty acids, because I talk a lot about that, because a lot of people have been missing that, and then proteins. And especially if you're a woman, you need the fats and you need the proteins for all your hormonal functions. So will be another episode about that. But it's lovely to see that are growing the garden, you're harvesting, you're eating directly the same day you can harvest it. And one day I was so impressed too, because I came there and you were so proud because he was showing me that he had been planting, was it 7 new trees in your backyard? Different fruit trees, it was fig trees, it was citrus trees, and so on. And he was so fascinated because here he is. I think you were about 69 years of age then. He's like, I dug all holes all by myself and I planted all of these trees today. If this would have been 3 years ago, I would probably have needed to spread it out in 1, 2, 3 days, but now I could do it all at once. And you were amazed over that. And I was so proud over you for having that energy to dig all of those holes and be so active. And it's fascinating to see that you can actually become more and more active as you're aging. You don't have to go the other way around, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was amazed that because they were 5 gallon buckets, and I dug those 7 holes and planted those trees in one day. And to praise Michaela a little bit, I feel sorry for all of you out there that don't have your own personal Swedish nutritionist, but she has just really opened my eyes to my health and what I need to be doing. And prior to meeting her, I thought I was doing everything right, but I found out how wrong I was.
Well, prior to me understanding everything I understood too, I thought I did everything I could. So, what is if you can give my listeners one thing that they need to do, what would that be for them to target something with their health right now that will make the biggest, what have made the biggest change in your health to target?
I would say the biggest thing is what you introduced me to, and it's the ratio of omega 6 to omega 3. But how are you going to find out what your ratio is? You need to find somewhere where you can get a blood test, because we did one and mine was 17 to 1. My wife was 27 to 1. My son was 49 to 1. So you're just guessing. And you need to be on a really good omega 3. That would be the bottom line. That would be the very first thing I recommend, is get on a high quality omega 3.
Talking about your wife and your son, I know that, I hope this is okay. But I know that your son called me and he was just, Michaela, could this potentially help me with my back? And I was like, well, we never know what's going to happen in your body, but we're creating better circumstances for your body to function better. So if your body is struggling with back issues, we might see good improvements. So he actually told me that for as long as he can remember, he have had lower back pain and nothing that he have done or tried doing to do have helped him. And he was so excited about that. And you as a father, how is that to see your son become like in a better state when you have been struggling with that for so many years?
Oh, it was amazing. I was just joyed. I was overjoyed and just thrilled that he had finally eliminated that back pain, because I had seen him numerous times go to stand up and be halfway bent over. And he's a young man, he's in his 30s, and he would stand up and he would just be leaning over like an old man. And I'm so overjoyed that his back pain is gone.
Yeah. So there are so many people, and people are always responding differently. We can't really know what's going to happen. But what I'm preaching is that a healthy body begins with a healthy cell, and that the cell is self healing under the right circumstances. And you're a prime example of what can happen even if we're battling with the H limit, H factor, but we're not letting it define us. So thank you so much, Bill, for sharing your story. And Bill actually went on to kind of document what he had been doing, and he have created an ebook called The High Blood Pressure Guy. And if people are wanting to following him, you find him on Instagram and on Facebook, and you can ask him for his free ebook, and he will be able to send it to you, where he's sharing his stories, and he's also bringing up some testimonials on people that have tried what he have tried and had similar results. So thank you so much, Bill, for being on to my podcast today. I so appreciate you. And thank you for listening to me and following my recommendation and being a proof of the concept that it's working. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Michaela. I really thank you. And I just thank you so much for what you've done for my health. Until you came along, like I said, I thought I was doing everything right, but you've really opened my eyes. So thank you.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to do one thing for me. Think of one person you want to share this podcast with and copy the link and send it right away. Thanks for playing an important role in the Blue Zone community. And if you want to keep on building a better you, one essential building block at a time, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next episode.